Peace, everybody. Uh, Today I'm making a video about the recent controversy surrounding actor Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger, Creed, Fruitville Station star, being forced to apologize to the Caribbean community, the Trinidadian community, for using a French name, a French word, Juvenet, as the name of his rum. The last time I checked in copyright law, you can't really copyright a name. So he could have kept the name, but he's looking like, he could just change the name. But we see the hatred that we really, get from these people around the world, especially these so-called black people who claim that we are one people when it comes to them coming over here to benefit and to appropriate black people culture, our culture. The whole entire world is appropriating black American culture. The people in Africa, Asia, Russia, the islands, anywhere. The whole entire world is appropriating black American culture, right? But the moment a so-called black man want to use the name, say a person want to use the name Vladimir after Vladimir Lenin, the whole Russian community gonna jump up and talk about you appropriating our culture. Or say we have a fantasy, imaginary name called Wakanda in a comic book series with an accent. We could say it's African or whatever, but it's an accent. There's a lot of people in the world that sound like, different exotic vernaculars. The African community saying that is appropriating the culture. Even though Wakanda is not even in Africa, Wakanda is actually in Illinois. It's a real state in Illinois, a real city in Illinois. And there's no monkey tribe, panther tribe in no Africa. And they actually have actual Africans in the movie, yet the so-called African people said that was appropriating their so-called culture. Even though the so-called Africans speaking English and French, are they appropriating French culture? The Trinidad was a French colony, a tradition passed down by the slave masters that the Trinidadian people continued on their own, a slave master tradition called Juvenet. And now they're saying because Michael B. Jordan used something that was introduced by French people, it's not something that the so-called Trinidadian people created themselves. Let me ask, what is from Trinidad? Like, what do they produce? What have they created in the last 50 years? Like, what is their music? We have this lady, this nasty lady, Nicki Minaj, who became famous off of Gucci Mane, an American black man from Alabama who grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and Waka Flocka. This lady didn't make her fame off of, for one, not Queens, New York. She went down south, even though, Waka Flocka and them from Queens, New York. Two, she didn't make her money off of Trinidadian music, Trinidadian culture. She made it off of black American culture. And then after she left Gucci Mane, this lady went to Young Money, a brand started by Baby and Lil Wayne, and a black American Louisiana, even though Louisiana Creole, French, but the people in Louisiana, they don't claim they slave masters like the people in the Caribbeans. You got the people in the Dominican Republic, they think they're Spanish. They think their ancestors are the Spaniards. The people in Haiti, they claim the French as their ancestors. They're not even like their own original people. Even though in the United States, we have New France, which was Louisiana, and a lot of the black people that come from the South actually are mixed with French and Indian and black. The black people have our own culture. We're not claiming we French. We're not claiming that we're nothing. We don't even claim that we African. It's something that the government telling us we some Africans. We are our own unique people, and we create our own culture. We manifest and originate all the time, every day. We have so much. And these people that accuse the black people in America of cultural appropriation, They have so little. You could just use a name. They're gonna think that you stole something from them. You didn't even like. You're not even using like their music, their fashion, their history, nothing. You're just using a name that was introduced by their slave masters, the French. Something that doesn't even belong to them. You don't see the French people, complaining about Juvenet or whatever, Juve, whatever it is, annual tradition that wasn't started by Trinidad, was started by slave masters, French slave masters. You don't see them complaining about cultural appropriation. You don't see the black, and these Caribbeans actually claim that they started hip hop, even though hip hop started by so-called black people in New York sampling rock and roll, soul music records that was produced in Chicago and Detroit. You took their records and remixed them. You didn't have no instruments. You didn't create any music. Chuck Berry, James Brown, any record you could come and chop up. That's how hip hop started. And you looking at people like H. Rap Brown, a Black Panther who went to New York. His name was Rap Brown because of his rhyming and his charisma. You got the last poets. You have so many people that actually did what you call rapping in our music for decades, probably longer than that. Yet you want to claim that you somehow created a whole genre that needed MCs, needed dancers, needed a lot of people who for the most part were people in America who had those skills, who had that talent. It wasn't just no one dude named King Cool Herc. You had to go to get James Brown and get his records and sample his music. But you're not saying James Brown started no hip hop. Chuck Berry, even though Chuck Berry was rapping in the 1950s with rock and roll. And he actually created his own music and he rapped. He didn't go and sample nobody from jazz or no rock. They created their own music with their own instruments. Hip hop was people sampling music from the previous genres, the previous generations. You literally standing on the backs of all of the real musicians that came from America. And we have people like Minister Louis Farrakhan, who never went back to the Caribbeans, who we actually allowed to lead the Nation of Islam, who led them nowhere. The worst leader in human history, who's from the Caribbeans. He's not even from here. He's not even one of us. And we have him leading us. The Caribbean people can't even lead themselves. They can't even separate themselves from their slave masters. They call them their slave masters in Europe, their founding fathers. They don't even associate with the indigenous people in those islands. They say French, Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, British. Like Jamaica is a British island, a British colony. And you have West Africa, primarily is a French and British colony. Nigeria and Ghana was given freedom in the 1960s. They didn't fight for no freedom. South Africa was given freedom in the 1990s. These people they haven't even been free for 100 years. And they still embrace their so-called European masters. You speaking their language. You're going to England calling yourself a British actor, and you are African. Kenya, Uganda, those are British colonies. And you telling us we're appropriating culture, and we have no slave master. We are not claiming no European nothing. We're not claiming nobody but our own selves. And you're actually using our culture and creations. You come over here and you imitate and play acting roles of Black American icons and make fortunes, make millions of dollars. And we never accuse you of nothing, no appropriating nothing. And the moment Michael B. Jordan used a name, a French name, not a Trinidadian original Native American, nothing, a French word. And you want to tell this man he's appropriating your culture, even though this French culture, introduced by the French, not no Trinidadian. Trinidad doesn't even create nothing. We don't even know what do you have? Like, is it jerk chicken? Is it I know you got jerk chicken, but I'm not sure if that's from Jamaica. I don't even know what Trinidad actually creates that's original. It's just not even significant to us. So I think Michael B. Jordan did the right thing by like, okay, you don't forget your name. Now what? See what I'm saying? The fact that he even used the name from Trinidad actually gave people. It actually promoted your culture. You benefited from that more than he could have benefited from. You looking like, oh, we ain't finna let him get nothing. Okay, now what? See what I'm saying? People wouldn't even been talking about no Trinidad. We thought it was all. We thought Trinidad, Jamaica, all of that was one country. We wouldn't know nothing about that. We know y'all come over here. You send your people over here, and y'all assimilate into the black people culture. We do not assimilate into your culture at all. You know, reggae been the same since the 19 whenever, since Bob Marley did it. It hasn't evolved whatsoever. You haven't created any new genres. You haven't produced anything of value really, other than coming over to America and imitating black people and making a fortune. And you hate the fact that you got to give credit to some two dudes from Louisiana. Drake is a Jamaican Canadian who couldn't do anything in Canada or Jamaica. He had to go to he had to get discovered by what's his name, Jay Prince's son, and then he had to go to Lil Wayne and Baby to become what he is. He was made by the black American man, and he hate that. But that's my opinion about Michael B. Jordan having to apologize to the people of the Caribbeans. I think they're ingrate. I think they're ingrates. I think they have very little appreciation for what the so-called people and the black people in America have allowed them to benefit from here. They come here and get minority this and that. They benefit as if they are us, and we never complain. They come to our schools, our HBCUs. They get these jobs that's so-called allocated to black people in America. They get housing, they get everything, they get these jobs, they get these positions, and they just forget about the fact that that just didn't drop out the sky. That was a foundation laid, and you don't really contribute anything. Like black people in America don't really earn any type of money from anybody in the world. Yet everybody in the world is making money off of us. Everybody in the world is exploiting the black man and black so-called black woman. Everybody. That's about it though.